This is Discovery, a program where you can discover the meaning and the message of the Bible.
Sir Isaac Newton, the eminent physicist, mathematician and astronomer, had a deep Christian faith. He was as serious about theology as he was about physics. The last book he wrote was entitled Observations upon the Prophecies of Daniel and the Apocalypse of St. John. Newton said, "To reject Daniel's prophecies is to reject the Christian religion, for this religion is founded upon his prophecy concerning the Messiah."
And that was our Bible teacher Derek Lindley introducing today's programme as we come once again to our study of the Old Testament book of Daniel. This is programme number 11 in a series of 13, discovering the amazing message of this important and fascinating book of the Bible. But now here's Derek to take us into Daniel chapter 11.
David Pawson writes that chapter 11 is the most astonishing prediction of the future in the whole Bible. In 35 verses, detailed major events are foretold, covering a total of 366 years. An angel draws back the curtain of time, revealing Israel's immediate as well as her distant future. It was the very importance of this chapter that caused Satan to hinder the angel in coming to give Daniel the answer to his prayer. It covers part of the period between the Old and New Testaments. Daniel, in his 80s, had been through many harrowing experiences and faced them with faith and courage. Now this final vision caused him at times to be stricken and paralyzed with fear. Though he trembled, he still trusted. Let me briefly highlight a few pointers in chapter 11. Remember, this was prophecy when given. We can look back on it as history from our standpoint. 3 more kings will appear in Persia after Cyrus, and then a 4th who will be far richer than all the others. Verse 2. They were Cambyses, Pseudo-Smerdis, Darius Hystaspes, and Xerxes. It was Xerxes who was defeated in Greece in 480 BC at Salamis. The mighty king who will appear, who will rule with great power and do as he pleases, verse 3, is none other than Alexander the Great. Eventually, his empire was uprooted and given to others, verse 4. The king of the south refers to Egypt, and the king of the north is Syria. There was an epic struggle, continued warfare between Egypt and Syria, and Israel, the beautiful land, verse 16, was caught in the crossfire because of its place on the map. This tug of war between the Ptolemies and the Seleucids ground on for the next 100 years. The contemptible person, verse 21, is a reference to Antiochus IV Epiphanes, who became king of Syria in 175 BC. He is the little horn of chapter 8, a type of the Antichrist. Verses 21 to 35 describe one who deals in intrigue and acts deceitfully. 3 times in this section we read the phrase, "at the appointed time." The Lord is in full control of things that occur in his permissive will. The little horn tries to be a big horn whose total ambition is self-adulation. This vile ruler, Antiochus IV Epiphanes, came in on a peace platform. He is called vile because of his blasphemies. He came against Jerusalem in 170 BC, at which time over 80,000 Jews were slain. He made Sabbath keeping illegal. Mothers who circumcised their baby boys were thrown off city walls with their babies at their breasts. Unspeakable horrors occurred. He even installed a statue of Jupiter in the Holy of Holies in the Jerusalem temple after abolishing the daily sacrifice. This appalling temple desecration is called the abomination that causes desolation, verse 31. In 166 BC, Mattathias the priest raised a revolt against such godlessness. The family were called the Maccabees, and they rededicated the temple. This period of history is covered in 1 and 2 Maccabees in the Apocrypha. There is the historical little horn, and also the little horn of the latter days. The principle of double reference refers to predictions that have a near and local fulfillment and also a distant end of the age fulfillment. From verse 36 to the end of the chapter, we have a focus on the tribulation and Antichrist's abominable self-religion. The king will do as he pleases. He will exalt and magnify himself above every god, and will say unheard of things against the God of gods. He will be successful until the time of wrath is completed, for what has been determined must take place. Verse 36. This self-exalting one will recognize only the God of war, and the foreign god, verse 39, who aids him is the devil. At the time of the end, the king of the south will engage him in battle, and the king of the north will storm out against him. Verse 40. He will invade many countries and sweep through them like a flood. He will also invade the beautiful land. Verses 40 to 41. He will pitch his royal tents between the seas at the beautiful holy mountain. Yet he will come to his end, and no one will help him. Verse 45. Commentators suggest the final verses of chapter 11 refer to the Battle of Armageddon. They include the events prophesied in Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39. These colossal global events haven't happened yet. Antichrist is like the legendary Pied Piper who plays his tune of hope and happiness and leads mankind dancing all the way to destruction. Antichrist has about 35 aliases in the scripture, for he is the greatest deceiver of all.
How good to know that our mighty God is indeed ruler of everything, and that nothing is outside of his control.
Next time we will consider the final chapter, the book of Daniel, which deals with the climax of history.
So do be with us next time. Until then, thank you for listening today. Goodbye, and the Lord bless you wherever you are. Goodbye.